Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports.
Hey,
how's it going,
Grey Cup
Hebsy?
weekend.
Are you going to the game?
No.
Oh, I heard that
What do
they're
you
getting
know?
good
What did you
money.
think?
I don't know. They're getting good money for those tickets. Apparently, there's a lot of demand.
Well, for some people, it is, especially in the last couple of years. They didn't have one last year.
Right.
I would think that if you were any kind of a football fan, not even just an event fan,
right,
get me to a big event and have some fun, a few drinks. That'd be the way to go, right?
The who was
you
on
were at the game last week?
I was at the game. Were you at the game last week?
No.
But was it a game time decision? What happened there?
No. Here's the thing. I would have gone had I not had to pay for tickets, but I wasn't going to pay to see that. I just wasn't.
I'm with
sorry.
you.
First, number one, I've been spoiled over the years, and you know that. Right? I've seen many games without having to pay.
Right.
And in situations where I wanted to go to the game and I wasn't working, I would either get a great discount on tickets or get them for nothing. You're the same way. You're not going to go spend a couple hundred to go see the Argos. Am I right?
No. My friend, I wasn't going to pay $10 to see the Argos. I was going to get a free ticket, or I wasn't going to go.
Okay.
So we're in the same boat.
That's the way it is.
Right.
When there's not a big demand for tickets, and they're not talking about it on the local sportscast that much. I mean, you could tune in sportscast the day after an Argo game or the day of an Argo game. Nothing. Jays, Raptors, whatever. But I don't think a lot of people look to say, hey, what happened with the Argos? Or was there a football game today? There wasn't any buzz in the city. There wasn't anything going on to suggest that we need to keep up with the Argo score.
No, I'm with you. I know. But my buddy Bob bought me. He didn't get a free ticket. He paid for my ticket. Good deal. I think he said it was like $30 or something.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And $5 beers
would have been worth $30 for you.
Here's how, to be honest, it was fun to have a few hours just shooting the breeze with Bob. Like, it was nice to be there with Bob and have some time away, from the kids and everything. The game itself sucked. Like, it was a terrible game, in my humble opinion.
But you hit on something very important, Mike.
Yeah.
Why do we go to the games? Why do we go with our friends? Why?
Right.
It's to see the game, but it's the experience of being with your friends.
Right.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
In the grand scheme of things, you might remember one play from the game, maybe none, if it was a game, as you say, that wasn't very exciting.
No, we didn't score a touchdown that game.
Right. But years from now, you're going to go, hey, Bob, remember when they were on our fifth beer? Or remember the guy in front of us? Remember on the subway? Remember on the bike ride? Something to that effect.
You're right.
It's time spent.
Right.
Time well spent.
So I think it was well worth the money because and they have this promotion. You get $5 beers, which is unheard of at Toronto sporting events to get the $5 beers.
$5 beer.
I know. So
how big's the beer?
It's a can, it's like a can like this. It's
Okay.
And and that helps, right? And then you get good conversation. And I had a few hours away from the kids, which is like on a Sunday. So and the bike ride was great. Like, it was all good. Buddy? The game sucked, but everything around the game was enjoyable.
Okay, good.
You need to tweet the link to the Hebsy fanatics out there.
Tell the listeners, viewers. I never know what to say, and I hate having to make it like a hybrid thing. Listeners.
Well, these are viewers because I'm not recording the podcast yet.
No, but my point is they may not be looking at you and me yapping. They may be in the other room.
Okay. That's there.
In fact, because they just want to hear the content.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people are like, well, wonder what Mike's wearing today.
They're counting the number of sips I take from my coffee.
Yeah. People, And if you're doing stuff like that, you got a problem in your life. You need to get a life if you're looking at your screen. That's right. Okay, so you had this big Zoom call last night that was very exciting with some big names.
Yeah, it was I guess we called it the FOTM Open Holiday Zoom, and the great Mark Hebsy showed up. It was great to see you there. But people like who was there? Mike Richards, Bruce Dobigan, Mike Eppel,
Steve Paikin there.
Steve Paikin. He was going to that Leafs game, so he was there early, and then he had to go to the game. But it was. I'm missing a bunch of, Peter Gross showed up, which is always a great pleasure. And it was a lot of fun.
What do you mean by that?
I'm a big Peter Gross fan. I think he's just tremendous. I'm a huge
Yes.
Peter Gross fan. Absolutely. Oh, a member of Lowest of the Low showed up, Lawrence Nichols. So that was
Lawrence
cool.
was on?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
He was there for quite a while too. You might have missed each other. That's the thing about these, it's chaotic, right? Like, because people are coming and going. I actually left for a little while because my router decided to reboot, which hopefully doesn't happen during this particular recording right now.
Oh, let's not get into technical specifics now.
Well, it's not
Okay,
that
what are you going to
specific.
talk about? Schematics and stuff? No, come on. This is
A
sports
router
show.
rebooting is too technical. Everyone
Are we ready
knows
to go
that.
here? Oh, we're not. We still got time.
You're chomping
that's
at the
by
bit
the
today.
way. Welcome to the red carpet, everyone. So sorry about that, but I guess maybe you're just dropping in on our conversation. That's the way I look at it sometime, Mike. You and I are just having a chat. Instead of being on the phone, we're just yapping away. I did that the other day when I was on Global TV. See how I weave that into the conversation. When the great reporter Mike Drolet called me. So we're back and forth on Zoom. We're just chatting, talking about the Lou Marsh thing and, what should happen there.
Oh, you said the name.
Yeah, I did. That's just
because
between you.
when I say the name,
carpet
you
thing.
get very angry.
No. This is a red carpet. It's very different.
Okay, I understand.
This is very different. As you know, we can say motherfucker and cocksucker on this, and it doesn't matter.
Shout out to George Carlin.
So this is completely off the rails. So Lou fucking Marsh. How's that?
Okay, that should be the name.
Do you know
of
that
it.
Ted Williams called himself Ted fucking Williams? He says, I'm Ted fucking Williams, and I'm the greatest fucking hitter.
I love it.
And there's a song called Ted fucking Williams by a band called, I think it's called The Baseball Project. It's Peter Buck from REM.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Ted fucking Williams is the name of the song.
Williams.
Pretty good, actually.
Cool.
I don't know how I got off on that tangent there.
Oh, I don't know. We're working blue today. Just warning. Do you want? Hey, quickly, you can finish your thought, obviously. But
I was just going to say that he and I were just chatting away for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then he said, "Okay, thanks."
Oh, that you didn't know you're okay.
And that's the best way to do an interview. You don't say to the person, "We're rolling," because we're live, we're on now. We're just let it happen organically, and then surreptitiously press the record button, and it's a conversation.
But you will, there are some things you'll say to somebody that you don't want recorded, like you will say things, right? So it's nice to know.
That's all said prior to you hitting the record button.
Okay.
Like all the shit that you and I said to each other before you put us on the red carpet.
It was awful.
Like that'll never know. God, no.
Not recorded. I want to say hi quickly to Gord, who was on that Zoom call last night, by the way. Gord was there. Scott Allen, who made his Hebsy on Sports debut last week, and he says
Alan Scott?
No, Scott Allen, but he's surprised you didn't have
Are
any.
you sure?
Well,
That's his
I'm just
name.
reading.
Because I've seen too many documents lately. And especially when I see the programs at minor hockey games where the kid's last name is first and first name is last. And you're not sure if it's Beatty Warren or Warren Beatty. Scott.
It says Scott Allen here. Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Scott or Scott Allen.
Quickly, just Canada Kev, who was on that Zoom call yesterday too. Gene Velitis, who was not, but Dale Cadeau, who was also on the Zoom call yesterday. He says, good morning. What is it? Moose Grumpy, of course, was on the Zoom. A lot of people from that Zoom last night are here right now, which is exciting because it's like a last night and then this morning, just spending their time with Hebsy.
That must be a great feeling to know that, hey, you know what? Thursday night, we're going to hang out with some friends on the Zoom call. And then when we wake up Friday morning with our coffee, we've got another entertaining hour or so of brilliance. Okay, here we go.
Okay, let me count you. Actually, I'm going to play your song. Here we go.
Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports, episode number 262. Hi there, sports fans. Mark Hebsy here in the Little Italy studio. How you doing today? Everybody having a good week? I am. Really good. Besides being in the hospital a couple of times, in the dentist chair, twisted my ankle running. Oh, you don't want to hear. You don't want to know. Is he doing, what is that, an impersonation of a Jewish person? What's going on there?
You have license.
Be very careful these days.
You have license.
I have license. I'm okay. And I'm a Jew.
Right.
But I can't say anything about anybody else. Not like some people we had heard about. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Joining me as always from the home office, south of the lakeshore, but west of Islington, is Toronto Mike.
Just west of Islington. Hello, Hebsy. How you doing today?
I'm great. Today's show, we're going to talk about the top athlete in Canada, the award he received, what he thinks about changing the name of said award, et cetera, et cetera. The Maple Leafs run into a lightning bolt. I was going to say stolt, a lightning stolt, and fall to Tampa. Who could win another Stanley Cup this year? I'm sad to say. The Raptors have some COVID issues and canceled practice thanks to the ubiquitous expression, out of an abundance of caution. I don't know where that came from, but God, I hear that a lot. It's like load management. Out of an abundance of caution, we decided on load management and no practice today because our fucking president has COVID, even though he's double vaxxed and boosted. And there were people around him that came in contact with him, high-profile people at that event that might have to be isolating as we speak. Anyway, it's an interesting story. The Blue Jays still locked out. Pete Walker to the Mets. Don't let him go. The Jays cannot afford to let pitching coach Pete Walker go anywhere. Pay him whatever he wants. We'll talk about the NFL. The Grey Cup for Canada's national championship. Even though it's competed for by many Americans. All the quarterbacks are American. You know that. Do I have to see the panel standing in front of Dundurn Castle? Like, what significance does that have? Here we are in Hamilton for Grey Cup week. That's Dundurn Castle. No one's been in Dundurn Castle. It's ugly. There's millions of places you could go. Let's show off Hamilton, the steel mills, and Dundurn Castle. Come on. The Olympic boycott, sports media news, and much more coming up. But first, let's say hi to the busiest man in podcasting. Oh, my God. 365 shows a year you do, yeah?
Almost getting there. Hebsy, nice to see you. I love that this ritual we have every Friday morning. After I drop the kids off at school, I go get my French press coffee. I get prepared for this moment right here where I get to hear you talk sports for an hour. What a pleasure.
Okay, here's the deal. We got to get some sponsorship money for the show or I can't do the show.
Oh, crap. I'm going to just have to cut you a check.
That's what it comes down to right now, okay? Got all these people that love to listen. They're enjoying it. They're entertained by it. You got to cough up something. So one of you guys has got to come through. Where I'm serious about this. $60 is the lowest I can go.
Wow.
For sponsorship.
That's a steal.
$60. $60 gets you mentions, gets you, big ups.
$60 a week. Media, I think everyone. That's nothing. I think
that's right.
That's nothing.
Look, I'm not going to make big money here.
But
I'm okay.
Maybe kick that up a little bit, Hebsy. I know you're on the record here, but maybe 60 is a bit low. I think I
need to cover my costs. Okay. You think it's easy working with someone like Toronto Mike? I mean, the guy has to get paid as well. Me, I'm all right. I'm not looking. I don't need to make a living on this type of thing. But as you know, we got a lot of listeners. I think we're something like 6,000 or something like that. Now, 6,000 is, it's all relative, right?
But these are not.
If 6,000 people are listening to the show.
They listen attentively.
Right? And each one of them paid a penny. A penny. I'm good. That's my $60.
Paywall.
That's it. So one of you out there that's got small business or an internet business or whatever it is, you just want people to, come to your website, get in touch. All right? I just need to make my costs here or it's just not going to happen. All right. Plus I got these other offers. I'm thinking, what am I fucking around with this for? I mean, is it that important that I do a podcast and have to go into my own pocket? No, it's not. I love to do it. I hate listening to podcasts where there's always commercial breaks and stuff like that. I understand that you have to do that and you're making a living. In this case here, it's not the same. I want to give you as much great content as possible without interrupting that thought. Okay? So that's the deal. Get in touch. You know how. You know the drill. And if nobody comes through, then, by January, this isn't going to be happening.
Were you just waiting for me to make a statement like how much I thoroughly enjoy my Friday mornings with you for you to
No. I enjoy doing it too. But
Okay.
I'm not going to do it for nothing. I'm not going to go into my own pocket for it. It's that simple. I don't want to say anything more about it. Come through for me. $60 gets you a nice little sponsorship. Want to spend more? We give you more time.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay?
Well said.
Anything else?
I just wish we had talked earlier. I feel 60's way too low for Hebsy on sports. But
I'm talking about the minimum amount to make to make my nuts.
Okay, on air
meeting.
I'm not
looking for a big profit. I don't have mouths to feed like you, Mike. It's totally different. You want to listen to the show, I need $60 minimum to make my costs. Now, let's get to some sports. Ready?
I am ready.
Or is there something else before we get to the meat of the show?
No, just an FYI. I'm flying blind today because you didn't send me any heads ups. Just so you know.
Maybe it's better that way.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, maybe it's better.
It is more exciting this way. I do peek.
Normally what happens, folks,
I like to know what's coming up.
Send a copy of the script. It's not really a script. It's more of an outline.
But Hebsy, here's what I do.
Storyboard.
I get questions in my head and I'm like, oh, I'll save that for when he's talking about this related topic. That's what I do.
Send it to you right now.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, you're the one who forgot to send it, Mr. Hebsher.
I know I did. I think how am I going to do this now? I'm wasting
live
everyone's time.
Hello again, Canada Kev, Dale Cadeau, Moose Grumpy.
Everyone's time here. I can't do it.
And Scott Allen. Okay, don't do it.
You know what we're going to talk about.
I'm ready. Let's go. Let's roll, man. I'm a professional.
Did you watch the Leaf game last night?
No.
Do you know anyone who went to the Leaf game last night?
Yeah.
So do I.
So
here's what I heard. Boy, they're exciting. Too bad that Mitch Marner's not playing. Not good enough to beat Tampa. It's like that. It's like, yeah, we're good and we can win and we're exciting, but there's just something. You look at Tampa and remember, Tampa has two of their best players, like superstars, out of the lineup. Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point. We have one of our emerging superstars, Mitch Marner, out of the lineup, okay? Which is more noticeable? Which absence is more noticeable? The Leafs could use Marner. If you're going to be a scoring team and you're going to give up 5 goals, you better be pumping more than 3 into the opponent's net. So last night, the Leafs lost 5-3. And Marner's absence was noticeable. And if they're going to go anywhere this year, they got to beat teams like Tampa and Florida, who are battling them for top spot in the Atlantic Division. Every team has injuries. I get that. But I don't think the Leafs are deep enough right now to overcome an injury to a key player. The Bolts are. They showed it last night. 4 wins in a row on the current road trip. If they beat Ottawa tomorrow, they'll have swept the road trip. That's pretty good. We got the best goalie in the world, Vasilevsky. I mean, we got a good goalie. Campbell's great, but he's not Vasilevsky. Doesn't have 2 Stanley Cup championship rings. The Bolts broke a 2-2 deadlock with 2 goals in the second period.
A TED Talk about the deadlock. Stay tuned for Hebsy's TED Talk. I'd tune into that, Hebsy. You should do a TED Talk.
Let's do that again. The Bolts broke a 2-2 deadlock. Who wrote this? Oh, I did. With 2 goals in the second and then held on in the third as the Leafs got to within a goal. It was exciting when Andre Kasha scored his second of the game at 9:36 of the third. See, that to me makes the game. If at least there's some excitement down the stretch, something to stick around for. Just get one and we'll be within 1. That kind of a thing.
Sure.
That's all I need. Because the Leafs are exciting, even in defeat. They're exciting. Ooh, another giveaway on defense. What's he doing? Remember last year, those 2 overtimes? Directly from giveaways. Egregious giveaways. I haven't forgotten that. So you just never know. Whether they're up a goal, down a goal, up a couple, down a couple. You never know. They could give it away. They could cough it up. They could gag on it. The other team jumps right in and scores. That's the Leafs. Even though they dominated Tampa in the faceoff circle, they were 2 for 2 on the power play, which just looks fantastic. But Tampa's a pretty disciplined team. And the Leafs just didn't have enough to get the W. And when you're playing Stamkos and Palat and Hedman and Sergachev, who's a terrific defenseman, you can't beat those guys by playing a mediocre game. You got to be on the top of your game.
Would it have mattered, though, if we had hammered the Bolts last night? I would just be here to tell you, let me see what happens in April when it matters. Like, one of these teams is a proven playoff winner, and one is a proven playoff disaster. So I'm not even sure. I'm not sure nothing fucking matters. I feel like you, with that monologue you delivered, you've got me in this mood now. Nothing fucking matters. When the playoffs start, the season starts for the Leafs.
So should I not talk about it?
It's Hebsy on sports. You can talk about it.
No, but I mean, had they beaten the Bolts last night, you're confident that you would feel exactly the same as you do
I think so.
right now.
I think so. Yeah, I'm confident. I'm very
That's sad
confident.
and pathetic.
Tell me more.
Leafs are tied with the Bolts now and the Panthers with 38 points atop the Atlantic Division. But Florida's got 3 games in hand on Toronto, and Tampa has 2. Leafs back in action Saturday night at the Scotiabank Arena when they host the Chicago hockey team. The Chicago hockey team. Kevin Lankinen, the second-year man from Finland, gets the start in goal for Chicago. And Jack Campbell goes for the Leafs, who hit the road next week for games Tuesday night in Edmonton, Thursday night in Calgary, and then Vancouver next Saturday night before visiting Seattle for the first time on Sunday. So the end of that trip is Vancouver Saturday, Seattle Sunday. Tough trip. And the Canucks are going to have a new look when the Leafs get there. Former Leaf teammates from the 1980-81 Leafs.
Terrible.
You don't
team.
even know who coached that team. How bad. Jim Rutherford
Captain Video
and Bruce Boudreau. Who coached that team?
Captain Video.
No. 80-81?
It's before
Get
I
back
started.
to me when you know your Leaf history. Get out of here.
Just before I started tuning in, just a couple years before.
Oh, so that means you would have never read anything about the Leafs prior to your birth? Are you one of those type of people?
Punch Imlach was coaching that team.
Get out of here. Actually close. He was the GM.
Right.
Was he still the GM then? Let me think about this. I think he might have gotten fired the year before. Now you got me thinking about it. Where was I? Yeah, Bruce Boudreau and Jim Rutherford were teammates on the 80-81 Leafs, and they're now reunited 41 years ago. So that's the Leafs situation. By the way, the Blackhawks blanked Montreal 2-0 last night. Marc-Andre Fleury won his 500th NHL game. He's only the third goaltender in history to reach that lofty plateau. In fact, the top 4 goalies of all time when it comes to victories are born in the province of Quebec. Can you name the winningest goaltender not born in La Belle Province?
Wow, because that takes away Brodeur and Roy and okay. So, great question, Grant Fuhr.
No. The winningest goalie not born in Quebec. Think about that one, buddy.
When do we get the answer now?
I'll give it to you right now. Ed Belfour.
Oh wow. It's not Grant Fuhr. I gotta check those numbers. Okay, that's great.
What do you mean you gotta check those numbers?
Because remember, that's back when goalies played most of the games, right? And he played for so many of those juggernaut Oilers teams.
Wins.
Yeah. But Oilers won a lot of games. Like I'm not surprised. Belfour won a lot of games too, and he had that longevity as well. So
longevity. That's the best.
You need longevity.
Anyway, the top 4, you've got a Brodeur, Roy, and now Marc-Andre Fleury with 500. And 4th is Roberto Luongo.
Oh.
Strong bone. Okay. Basketball. Toronto Raptors Vice Chairman and President Masai Ujiri has tested positive for COVID-19, says he's fully vaccinated and has received a booster shot. But as you know, you can still contract the virus, although rarely is it deadly if you've been fully vaccinated.
And that's everything. That's everything, though, because we're still very focused on cases. And if this vaccination defangs this thing, so it becomes like, you're maybe this is just part of life going forward as people, get vaccinated here.
Yeah. We're learning more and more. I mean, it's been, coming up on 2 years, I guess. Shouldn't even say that because by March, it's possible that it will be not eradicated. Well, maybe eradicated. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to Ujiri and the Raptors. Masai was present at a Giants of Africa event Sunday and later learned of positive COVID-19 tests among guests there. So Giants of Africa, so South Africa is where the latest incarnation or
variant
version of this.
It's a variant.
Thank you. That's where it came from. And so naturally, and I don't believe, or I don't know what the timing was, where Canada might have closed its borders to flights from South Africa. Anyway, there was risk there. There were positive COVID-19 tests among the guests. Ujiri has contracted it. He said the gala was in compliance with public health guidance, including instructions to wear masks when not eating or drinking. Now, come on. Like, you know as well as I do, this is what they have this in all the arenas. Who do you know that takes the mask off just to put food or a drink in their mouth and puts it back on again? Come on. I mean, really, it's the dumbest. It's the dumbest of all. It's okay to take it off while you're eating. Well, how long will you be eating for? Well, I'll be eating the whole night. So I'm taking it off basically for 2 hours.
But you're okay fundamentally with, accepting a little bit of risk as you live your life. Like, this minimal risk, which was the whole point of the vaccinations. We just live with a little risk. Every time.
So if that person hasn't been vaccinated, all right, and they're got their mask off and they're eating and drinking, whatever, there's a chance that I could contract it. Now, I've been vaccinated, so it shouldn't be a big deal, hopefully.
Right.
But
Exactly.
Let's get everybody vaccinated. Then I'd feel better that way. Anyway, so here's the deal. Ujiri says he's in self-isolation, so he's got to go 10 days. So when did he find out? Monday? Monday? So anyway, 10 days in self-isolation and continues to monitor the symptoms. The Raptors canceled their practice yesterday after losing the other night to OKC I thought it was a buzzer beater, but it wasn't. But it was a near buzzer beater. But at the time that it went in, we were all convinced for that, I don't know, couple of seconds. We all thought, oh, it's like Kawhi Leonard. And to see the joy on their faces the players, as they thought they had hit the winning basket. And then to think that, a few seconds later, the realization, that maybe one of them said, I don't know if it made it or not. Like the reality of it was like, yeah, we did. Did we? And they all kind of looked at each other. Did we? No, that was tough. So anyway, that was the other night against OKC, lowly OKC. So no practice for the Raptors yesterday. No practice for the Indiana Pacers yesterday as well. Now, they had played the Knicks the night before. Now, they canceled practice yesterday. And guess who's coming to town to play tonight? The Knicks are in Toronto. So Toronto canceled their practice. Indiana canceled their practice. The Knicks were in Indiana. The Knicks are now in Toronto. The game is on TSN tonight. Sideline reporter Kayla Gray, who we've discussed before on the show, was seen interviewing Masai Ujiri at the event that night, the other night. So did she come in close contact with him? Has she been tested? This is none of my business. And if so, I wonder if she had to isolate. So watch for the game tonight. If she's there, if she's present, then obviously she must have tested negative or doesn't have symptoms or whatever the case is. But still, if you were in contact with anyone who was at that event, you got to get tested, right? Am I right?
Yeah, these rapid tests. You got to get tested for sure.
Okay. Anyway, that's sort of a little sidebar to the Raptors, who are not having a good season. That game the other night was painful.
Right.
Oh,
we're in a rebuilding phase.
I know.
It's a little uncomfortable.
What's that? Sorry.
It's a little uncomfortable when you transition from championship to rebuild.
It's been a couple of years, I know. It's like ancient history, that the time that you and I stood there and affected the entire victory parade from the Raptors. Okay, other COVID-related stuff in sports. My favorite soccer team, Tottenham Hotspur, had to have 2 matches postponed this week because of a COVID outbreak that has affected 8 players and 5 staff members. Which leads me to think, Mike, I'm wondering now what's going to happen. Let's see, this is December the 10th. The Olympics begin in less than 3 months, right? February. Okay. Less than 3 months? Less than 2 months? Hold it a second. December. It's a couple of months.
Right.
It's like 60 some odd days to the start of the Olympics. And it's quite possible that, well, there's already a diplomatic boycott by many nations. A lot of sponsors are under the gun because they're wondering, do we spend our ad dollars on these games? Are we supporting the boycott, or are we supporting what? That's a dilemma for companies. big companies that are spending a lot of money on the Olympics, that depend on the Olympics, that have a lot of their advertising dollars directed towards Olympic coverage.
It's a problematic Olympics.
Very much so. And not the first of its kind.
Right.
It's also quite possible that there will be no spectators because of COVID concerns. Now, I know we said that about
Tokyo.
Japan and Tokyo. There's been no issues that I can think of after those Olympics. Like I'm sure there were a couple of cases, I'm not sure. But the worries, the concerns that Japan, Japanese were not heavily vaccinated at that time. And what's going to happen here? No issues at all. So perhaps, the IOC and the folks in Beijing have learned from that and thought, all right, we can isolate things. And, we can ensure that nobody gets in here unless they're fully vaccinated, whatever the case is. So I think that's good. If I'm an athlete, man, I'm sorry, but I'm like, I have to go. I have to go to the Olympics.
What if
I can't not go to the Olympics. I've worked all this time.
Yeah.
I feel for the people there, but I can't not go. Same way the athletes. Look, I was in Lake Placid in 1980, and they had already determined Jimmy Carter, and then who was it? Who was our prime minister then?
Was it Trudeau?
Was it Trudeau or was it Joe Clark?
Because he came back
again.
It
was Joe Clark.
Okay.
I think it was Joe Clark, where they had made the decision months in advance. They were not going to go to the 1980 Summer Olympics in Moscow because of the Soviets' invasion of Afghanistan. I remember talking to some of the athletes who were really bummed. Like, this is a reason for us to not go to the 1980 Olympics. And remember, Great Britain went. Canada usually sided with Great Britain, but in this case, they sided with the U.S. with Jimmy Carter. But Great Britain went. Sebastian Coe and Steve Ovett. And, I had seen Torval and Dean, I guess it would have been the previous winter. Yeah, it was very interesting. They knew they weren't going. They knew of their summer athlete compadres that weren't going, couldn't go. Whereas the Brits and other nations were going to the Summer Olympics. That was weird. So who knows? We do know this. Very few diplomats, very few dignitaries will be attending. It's not as appealing for sponsors now to go, right? You go with the dignitaries. Hey, here's the president of Coke, the CEO of whatever, this big company. You go a little schmoozing, rub some elbows, get the Olympic experience with the dignitaries, fine wine, caviar, whatever the deal is. Not going to happen so much because U.S. President Biden this week set the wheels in motion, announcing the U.S.'s diplomatic boycott. Now, in a diplomatic boycott, it's only government officials who don't travel to the Olympics. The athletes do.
Right.
They still compete under the flag. Right.
Have you heard, sorry to interrupt, but Paul Romanuk, who we all know, wrote an interesting piece on LinkedIn, actually, where he was suggesting the diplomatic boycott, China doesn't care. But if the athletes refuse to participate in the opening ceremonies, that might pack a bigger punch. So the athletes still compete, but they do not participate in the opening or closing ceremonies.
Unless you had a union together with the athletes, it's not going to happen. Athletes dream of the opening ceremonies too, so they can take pictures. They want to be part of the celebration. You'd have to get them all together and say, look, as a group, we're not going. So each nation.
But even if some nations,
the United States would say, we're not going. Who's with us?
Right. And then you have certain countries that might participate. Maybe Canada goes in on that, and then the athletes don't participate in that. That might pack a bigger punch.
Then now you're spending a few weeks in China, and then you realize that everywhere you turn, people are looking at you in such a way that you want to fuck up our Olympics, do you? I wouldn't feel comfortable as an athlete, I don't think.
By the way,
if I knew that for the next couple of weeks the Chinese officials are pissed at us and maybe not that concerned about our welfare or safety so much anymore. Here's what Chinese Foreign Minister Zhao Lijiang promised. Quote, resolute countermeasures, saying, quote, the United States will pay a price for its mistaken acts. End quote. That's ominous, my friend.
That's ominous.
Don't fuck with China, right?
Well, then maybe we shouldn't have given them the Olympics here. Okay.
Well,
official
maybe
Hebsy on
not.
Sports historian Stephanie Wilkinson will have you know that Joe Clark did make the decision, but by the time
Thank you, Stephanie.
But by the time the Olympics took place, Pierre Elliott Trudeau was the prime minister.
But he made the decision, which really wasn't a tough decision because Carter's like, "Who's with me?"
Right.
Right. And of course, Clark had to. Had to.
Although I will say we didn't go into Iraq when the weapons of mass destruction were supposedly there. Like Chrétien did not go with the States on that one, so we have gone our own way occasionally.
But it was Joe Clark who had made the decision.
Right.
Thanks, Stephanie. Okay, so the big story this week, I guess, was the continuation of the what the fuck are we going to do with this award named after this bigot, racist, anti-Semite? So I did a bit of research. We got some press. We had some articles written and some television stations like Global TV, my former employer, come out and sort of say, hey, what's the deal with this award? And are they going to change the name of it? And a little bit of background for those who were not aware of the history of this man. We're talking about the guy who the award was named after. So I went back in my archives, March 14th, 2018. So 3.5 years ago, coming up on 4 years ago. Here's my letter to the ombudsman, I guess, of the Toronto Star. Hi there. I'm about to publish something which includes this quote from the Toronto Star. I'd like to get your comment before it is published. There is an award for Canada's finest athlete named for Mr. This is his work. So it reads the guy's name. Longboat Runs Durando is the name of the story. Toronto Star, January 4th, 1909, page 11, bottom of the column, subhead, Wise Mr. Indian. And the quote is, the imperturbable Indian was right there and smiling like a coon in a watermelon patch. The melon was ripe for picking. End quote. Continuation. He is referring to Tom Longboat, a native from Six Nations Reserve who ran against an Italian. Quote, he gave the macaroni-fed galloper a single fast step. End quote. So I send this to the public editor. I get a response 2 days later from Bob Hepburn. Hi, Mark. Your inquiry to the Toronto Star's public editor about a 1909 article by has been forwarded to me. Here's what he writes. Upon reviewing the article, it is clear that in his description of Mr. Longboat, Mr. was using language and description that were commonplace at the time. Bullshit they were. This is me talking. They weren't commonplace. Commonplace at the time. Maybe in your newspaper. Anyway, he goes on to say, however, such descriptions in language are no longer acceptable in today's society and have not been in the pages of the Toronto Star for many decades. We would not publish such descriptions or language today. So I want to go back. I'm going to stop this letter and I want to go back to a man named Joseph Atkinson. Do you know who this is?
I do not know that name. I don't think.
Joseph Atkinson was the publisher and basically the owner of the Toronto Star from 1899 to 1948. Right?
Okay.
So he had 5 or 6 points, principles, he called them, principles of journalism, promises he was going to keep as the publisher and owner of the Toronto Star. Of the 5, 2 of them were, one was social justice. Atkinson was relentless in pressing for social and economic programs to help those less advantaged and showed particular concern for the least advantaged among us. Okay, these are the principles of the newspaper that this dude worked for. Okay, another one was individual and civil liberties. Atkinson always pressed for equal treatment of all citizens under the law, particularly minorities, and was dedicated to the fundamental freedoms of belief, thought, opinion, and expression, and the freedom of press. So that kind of contradicts, right? Like freedom of the press, meaning you can go ahead and you can make fun of minorities and marginalized and those who are less advantaged. So these are the principles of the newspaper that this guy worked for and that this publisher had. Broken. many times by this dude, but not according to the Toronto Star's public editor. Let's go back to the letter. It's important to know that our research has shown that was both a friend and huge supporter of Tom Longwood. Not Tom Longboat.
Right.
He corrects himself. He even accompanied Mr. Longboat to the 1908 Summer Olympics in London. Also, at times, he was both an aide and a coach for the runner. He remained a friend with Mr. Longboat until his death in 1936. Yeah, but that's just your whitewashed version of the history of this guy. You didn't do any research. You didn't really know that they were enemies as much as friends. You weren't aware of some of the things that he wrote about him. I was. I did the research. You only believed your own press clippings, basically, the Toronto Star. Same way you did in 1936 when this guy said, no, we're not going to boycott the Olympics. No, what's going on with Nazi Germany? It's got nothing to do with us. Nothing at all. It's an internal German matter with the Jews. Yeah, okay. So anyway, he's going to be out. By the way, the rest of the letter, if you have any other questions, contact me, Bob Hepburn, Director of Communications, Toronto Star. So that's the Star. That's the principles of that newspaper, broken over 100 years ago. What does that tell you? Principles. Bullshit. No bullshit. So anyway, listen to this. I wrote to Dr. Bruce Kidd, world champion distance runner, professor emeritus at the University of Toronto, the former principal. Yeah, principal is the right word, of U of T Scarborough College. And the winner of the Lionel Conacher Trophy in 1961 and 62, and the winner of the trophy in 1961. I asked him what he thought of the likely forthcoming decision to remove his name from the trophy. And this, I hope Bruce doesn't mind that I am reading this. It was a personal email between him and I, but I don't think he'll mind. Anyway, this is what Bruce wrote back to me. I take my hat off to the current generation of activists who are not prepared to leave things as they are, creating an environment where institutions are forced to remove names and statues of slavers, racists, and residential school builders. I thank you, Mark, for weighing in so many times. His name on the award has bugged me ever since I started doing research on the 1936 Olympics and Tom Longboat more than 40 years ago. But up until recently, there were only shrugs. So thanks to Gord Miller, thanks to Dr. Janice Forsyth, thanks to me, others who were made aware of this and said at the same time, we didn't know this about this guy. We didn't know that the name attached to the greatest athlete in Canada on an annual basis, that this was the guy. We had no idea. Well, now you know.
Kudos to you, though. You've been all over the media. For example, there was a fantastic photo of you and I that appeared on Global National this week. And you didn't send them that photo, right? They just sort of searched Google for a picture of you, and
yeah, it is a good picture of you and me.
Yeah, but so it's an
also
honor.
Good promotion for the podcast.
Yeah, it's an honor that I was on Global National this week, and I did nothing to deserve it. It was all you. So thank you.
Big numbers. Global National draws big numbers, Mike. Big, hundreds of thousands. Okay, you're in good shape.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's all. So that's the most people.
When Taddy and I were on that show, when we were on Sportsline, and the way you measure numbers is it's like, there were hundreds of people in a bar watching Sportsline.
Yeah,
you get credit for one viewer,
right?
That kind of a thing. So, but it was hundreds of thousands.
Okay, the last time the Argos won the Eastern Conference division or whatever, TSN took a shot of me after the big touchdown. That was the record. So the second place now is this Global National appearance.
There you go, Mike. It's good. You're going to get recognized on the street. That's what's going to happen. Hey, are you the guy with the podcast? And remember how very much against you were the video component of the podcast?
Right. Well, this is all your fault. Now I feel like I'm a TV star. It's all your fault, Hebsy.
I accept full blame. Okay, the Grey Cup goes Sunday in Hamilton. Already, there's a controversy.
Whoa.
Arkells, who are heading the halftime show, have been told not to wear any Ticats colors so that it doesn't appear as if they're favoring Hamilton over Winnipeg.
That's bullshit. That's
Now,
bullshit.
folks, I don't know if you're aware of this, okay? The Arkells, not the Arkells. Arkells were formed in Hamilton, okay?
Right.
At least two of them are Hamilton guys. I think they're all Hamilton guys now, but I mean,
And they're Cat fans.
huge.
Right. Like when Celine Dion sings in front of a
slam dunk. The game's in Hamilton, Arkells.
Right.
But the CFL is saying to them, you can't show favoritism.
Stupid. Isn't that dumb?
That's the dumbest thing. Is that so
like the CFL
dumb?
should encourage it because it riles up the other fan bases.
Because there's already an Eastern bias. You know this, Mike. Anybody from Western Canada, anyone listening or watching Western, put your hands up. You all hate Toronto, right? Because Toronto's the center of the universe. Everything goes Toronto's way. Look at even the Argonauts got their guy who tested positive for COVID and went to the game and
why is the CFL so dumb?
Rules.
Why is the CFL so dumb?
We don't need no stinking rules.
I would encourage. I would ask Arkells. That's awkward.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
I had the same conversation with Spoons this week about that. The Spoons versus Spoons. Seriously, we talked about it. So Arkells, I would encourage them to wear as much Cat gear as possible. The game's in Hamilton. Hamilton's in the damn game. You are bona fide Hamiltonians. Go for it. Go big or go home. And that is home. They're already home.
Can the CFL fine them? Can they yank them off the stage? Like, what would they do? Like, I'm serious. Max and Nick and all the guys have got to be sitting there going, what the fuck? Let's go out in fucking style. Let's be rebels. All their fans would just love it. Right? All dressed in Cat colors.
Maybe we'll get
my question is that here's my question.
Yeah.
How many Arkells fans are also Winnipeg Blue Bombers supporters? Very important. If Arkells go to Winnipeg, will they sell out? Or were they going to be known as strictly Hamilton Cat people? I don't know. There is something to it. I would say be subtle.
Oh.
You can wear the Cat
like
too,
gloves.
but not everybody in black and gold.
Okay.
Because then it sounds like it's the Cat's house band, and you can't have that. Because then the Guess Who is or the Watchmen are going to be the
Watchmen,
doing the show when the Grey Cup's in Winnipeg, and people are going to go, hey.
See,
and then the Sheepdogs are going to do it in Regina. They're going to go, hey, come on.
But here's the thing:
the
fact is, this game is taking place in Hamilton. Like, I feel like that's the reason why it's okay. And if one of those
stadium there,
have I been there?
Yeah.
No. Have you?
Would you go?
Free? Is it a free ticket?
Yeah, if there was a free ticket,
I would. I'd have to
drive in Hamilton.
Yes, I'd make the drive on the QEW to see the Grey Cup for free. Absolutely.
Which way would you go? Where would you park?
I'd have to Google Map it because I usually bike everywhere. So this would be one of those I have to drive.
I'm going to tell you this right now.
Yeah.
You go in the back way.
Okay.
Go over the Burlington Skyway.
All right.
You come in on Burlington Street.
Okay.
You park on Gage Avenue. Okay.
Okay.
Not a great area at all. Okay. Put the club in your car and, in the steering wheel.
At the club.
And then from there, it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks. But the beauty of it is when the game's over, you can get out way easier.
Okay.
Right. You're closer to the highway.
All right. That's a good tip.
Because there's no area around there. There's no area with bars or restaurants. It's not where that stadium is not a place to be walking around afterwards and looking for a place to eat or drink. No.
Interesting.
You get out of there. Get the hell out. Get to James Street or get on the highway.
Maybe I'll park at Tom Wilson's place.
There you go. By the way, I was going to buy a house on Arkell Street many years ago when I had first moved to Hamilton, working for the station out there. I was going to buy a place on Arkell and Klein. Right, one house in from the corner on Arkell. So there you go.
That's a fun fact.
But I know nothing about their music.
I have a controversial opinion on that band that I don't even want to share on this show.
I could not name any song they do. They seem like a nice bunch of guys. It's not offensive music, certainly nothing.
No, it's
like
not
that.
bad
it's quite
music.
Nice and poppy, but I don't know anything
what
about them.
The Boss is coming. You don't remember that big jam? Oh,
never listened to a song by them.
John Lennon.
Maybe I should.
They have a few good jams, but nothing I've ever said to myself, I want to hear some Arkells right now. I've never had that moment.
Right. Meanwhile, TSN's coverage of this is, I get it. There's no Chris Cuthbert. Rod Black is gone as well. You've got Rod Smith doing, I believe, his first Grey Cup. Pretty exciting stuff.
Sure.
But when they do the panel and they send the 4 of them out there wearing the same coats, standing outside of Dundurn Castle. Hi, welcome to Hamilton. Come on. There are so many more places in the Hamilton area to go for your beauty shots while the 4 of you are talking about, who's got the better offense, your standard panel stuff, but they're standing there. Dundurn Castle. Come on. Go to Tews Falls.
Right.
Go to Webster's Falls. Go to the Mountain Brow. Beautiful views of the city. Absolutely gorgeous. There's lots of places. Stop this bullshit about, because everyone's come in from Toronto, come on, we're in Hamilton for the day. We shoot our stuff. We go back home to Toronto.
Right.
Or Mississauga or Oakville, wherever you live.
Find a waterfall.
Yeah, come
it's
on,
the city
man.
of
There's
waterfalls.
Tons of beautiful places.
There's hundreds of beautiful waterfalls in Hamilton.
Hundreds of waterfalls, some great views, Mountain Brow. I mean, come on, there's tons of places, really. Anyway.
Hey, do we have an update? This might be the time to get an update on your mainstream media pursuit there, or that opportunity that might exist. Do you have any update on Hebsy returning to mainstream media?
Well, the one, when I was told, we'll get back to you in a few weeks, I understand that a few weeks could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. The other thing is there are a lot of decisions that have not yet been made regarding things like future schedules, the Olympics, for example. The Olympic stuff is all up in the air. Like, they don't know who's going, who's not going, what are we covering, what are we not covering, are the NHL players going to play, are they not going to play? So there's all this that's going on, which is, I'm assuming, affecting some of these decisions. But I know that in December, no decisions are made. They're all made after Christmas, except the firing. So when they fire people. Yeah, because this week would have been the week that we all got fired at that station. And this is it. Because the expression, and at this time of the year especially, are now ubiquitous. Anything bad that happens at this time of year, right? It's all, and just before Christmas, what a terrible thing to happen.
Right.
Like a fire now
in
your home is way worse than a fire in your home in August.
Do you know that Real Static
because
song?
it's Christmas time.
Yeah, I know.
It makes no sense.
Well, the Real Statics
doesn't make any sense.
have a song called It's a Bad Time to Be Poor. And every time I hear that song, I think, is there a good time to be poor? And it's the same idea. Like, it's a bad time to be fired. Well, when's that good time to be fired? I'd just like to know.
Right. And an early Christmas gift, look, folks, an early Christmas gift is December 23rd. That's a couple days before Christmas.
Festivus.
Not December 10th. It doesn't work. A late Hanukkah gift.
Yeah, I have to say, not everyone celebrates Christmas either. Let's not forget. Hebsy, you don't celebrate Christmas, right?
I don't, but I know when Christmas is, okay? I will be doing some...
Well, it's easier to track Christmas than Hanukkah, because you need a whole algorithm to find out when Hanukkah takes place. It's not always the same day.
No, you don't need an algorithm to figure it out. You need to get the calendar, okay?
Right. The lunar calendar.
Get the correct calendar.
But it should be
the tablets. You need to get the tablets.
Right.
The original tablets.
From Mount Sinai.
When the 16th of Tishrei is.
Right. But it's not a fixed date. That's why it's not a fixed date. My son said Happy Hanukkah on a FOTM KOTJ the other day, and I had to tell him that it's over now. Like the 8 days have passed because
you know what though? You tell your son it's more than permissible. There isn't one person that's going to say to you, "Hey, you can't say that anymore."
Okay.
They're going to go, "Thanks."
Okay.
Same to you.
I'll tell them.
Happy holidays to you. Happy whatever to you. Happy holidays. Season's greetings.
Right.
Joyeux Noel. Whatever the greeting is.
Right.
It's just that there's this kind of line, this early Christmas gift. Come on, early Christmas gift. December the 10th. Come on. Dumb expression. And then some of this other shit that goes on that, what a shame. And this close to Christmas.
Right.
Fuck right off.
Like January's better when the credit card bill arrives.
Right. You never hear that. Eh? You never hear someone in January that there's a fire, someone going, and right after New Year's.
Right.
It's like I've been watching reruns of The Sopranos, and it's amazing how many times when something bad happens, they equate it to the event that's going on at the same time. Like, you got caught drinking on your father's birthday?
Right.
Right?
It's like the day of your daughter's wedding. Right.
On your sister's graduation?
Right.
Like on a Sunday dinner?
By the way, I love that show.
Of all the times for this to happen. Now?
What a great show.
Christmas?
Hey, do you watch Succession?
I do. I've only watched. What season are they into? 3?
3.
Yeah, I've one.
Okay.
I've watched one of season 3.
Okay.
So I sort of, but I didn't watch it for a while, so I had to catch up again. Who was who?
Right.
Oh, they're all evil. They're all terrible characters, horrible people.
Right.
Right. And then one of them just takes off somewhere. He leaves he gets voted out, and he's gone. Right.
Well, I don't want to.
But he comes back in season 3.
Yeah, I don't. Let's put it this way, because I know you love The Sopranos, as I do, and you love some of these prestige HBO shows that I quite like. I just think Succession would be right up your alley, because it really is the only show going on right now
excellent.
where I'm watching it and I'm thinking, yes, like this is a well-written, well-acted
it's
show.
excellent. But this prick father,
yeah,
I'm going to retire. I'm not going to retire.
Right.
Fuck you. Okay, I hate you. Who does that?
It's great, isn't it?
Seriously, it's me.
Logan Roy.
I'm Dad, I don't give a shit anymore. But these people are all just so money hungry and so power hungry.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
And I don't know who the most despicable character is on the show. I'm not sure. They're all really.
It's not Cousin Greg. That's all I'll say.
I don't like Cousin Greg at all. He might be the worst of them all. Conniving.
He's very naive, though. Like, he's got this innocence about him. Like, because
he does, but as time goes on, he's learning not to be so innocent anymore.
Shout out to Kendall
He plans
Roy.
things out, and he stutters just the right amount. Well, I don't know. Like, he can't make up his mind.
Here's a little fun fact that the actress who plays Shiv is Australian. Yeah, Siobhan is Australian, and the actor who plays Tom, her husband, is British.
Right. I've seen him before, the guy who plays Tom. I'm not sure about him either. I don't know about him. Anyway, that's Succession. By the way, I'm picking, Grey Cup Radio. So TSN has the rights, and it's all the TSN stations. So guess which cities will not have any radio coverage?
Right.
You can't, if you live in these 2 cities, you cannot get the game on radio.
Here, I don't know this answer, but you lived there for so long, you'll know the answer. Can you get 1050 in Hamilton? That'll come through, right? 1050?
Oh no, Hamilton will have its own station. 1150 in Hamilton.
But isn't that Bloomberg?
What's the difference? What it is? It'll have the game.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't know if they put like a football game on a business channel.
What's the difference? You think people are listening for the business channel on Sunday afternoons?
Well, no. My point is, do you get the reception? Like, if I get a terrestrial radio in Hamilton, do I pull in 1050?
1150, I told you.
No, I know. I'm telling you, there's a TSN radio station in Toronto that will have this game, 1050.
Right, in Toronto.
Yes, in Toronto. But do you get that reception in Hamilton? Do you get the reception of the station 1050?
I don't know.
Oh, because you never, because.
Why would I listen to 1050 if I'm in Hamilton?
Because 1150 is not a sports station anymore. So if you're looking for a TSN sports station, the closest one is Toronto.
No, I would listen to AM 900 if I was in Hamilton.
All right.
And plus, radio stations don't give you sports scores anymore, do they? Do they even do that? Do they, Mike?
We don't even do that. So I don't know. I think you got to use your app for that.
How many times I've tuned on the television at 11 o'clock saying, I just need my sports center or sports desk or sports whatever, sports show. Give me 11 o'clock. Give me a sports show. No.
These devices killed that, because we all have it at our instant scores at our fingertips with these smartphones.
I know. But I want like this, just a sportscast. Give me 5 or 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Give me the highlights. I don't get it. Anyway, so Calgary and Vancouver do not have TSN stations that are carrying the game. So if you're in Calgary or you're in Vancouver, you can't get the Grey Cup game on radio. How's that, eh?
Can you stream it?
I guess you could, but I'm saying if you listen on the radio, if you're a radio listener.
Right.
And obviously radio is not that big a deal anymore because people are getting their content in other ways. Radio listening is down.
Big time, buddy. And you might have heard Mike Richards go off on
down.
This yesterday.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay.
All right. Now, Winnipeg this year, 11-3. Pretty good. Hamilton, 8-6. I'm picking Winnipeg to beat Hamilton. They've got a quarterback named Zach Collaros, who used to play for the Ticats and the Argos, for that matter. He's got something to prove. Hamilton's starting quarterback will be Dane Evans, who won the job in the second half last week against the Argos after taking over from Jeremiah Masoli. So advantage Winnipeg. And as much as I would love to see the Ticats break the curse and win for the first time since 1999, the Grey Cup, their team isn't as good enough as Winnipeg. I wish them the best. I'd be betting Winnipeg. Now, sports radio ratings. Our friend Adam Seaborn on Twitter, AHB Seaborn, always comes out with the good numbers. He's always got the overnights on the highest rated shows on television, which every night is Jeopardy during the week. No matter what's on, it's all Jeopardy. And then, how the Leaf game is doing on TSN, how the Raptor game did on Sportsnet, et cetera, et cetera. It's all the other sporting events. But he also does the radio ratings, which just came out. So here's the update. Fall 21, males 25 to 54. Mornings, the Fan, 0.12.
Whoa.
All right, that's up 2%.
Eek.
TSN, 0.06.
Wow.
Up 96.2%.
Eek.
The morning show on TSN is up 96.2%, which means two things. One, it wasn't a very highly rated show to begin with. And two, the combination of, I think it's Korolnik and Kolovakio, is that right?
That's correct.
Doing pretty well. Good for them.
Twice as well as Land. But those numbers, those are percentages of a whole, right? So like if all the radio listeners are your pie, that's the percentage of the pie that's tuning into those stations, right? Because the pie is shrinking.
Well, I mean, these stations we're talking about are ranked numbers 14 and 18 in the entire Toronto market.
Like
they're not even top 10 stations in the market.
Right.
Neither the Fan nor TSN 1050. Not even close.
Huh.
Based on total cume, based on quarter hour listening, not even close. There's a lot of stations way, way ahead of them. Wow. So their pie is even smaller. It's for the sports fan only.
Right. A subset of a subset, if you will.
Yes, exactly. So the afternoon show, no, actually daytime. Daytime would be, Mike, I'm thinking 9 till 3.
Okay.
Would be considered daytime. Because afternoons, I think, is afternoon drive. Would be like 3 to 7 or something like that.
Right.
So anyway, daytime. The Fan, 0.13, down 40%. Daytime at TSN, 0.03, down 8.7%.
Wait. 0.03. Well, the Fan's not much better, but 0.03.
Not much
that's
of a share.
0.03% of males in that age group that are listening to the radio at that time are tuned in to 1050.
Correct.
That's like That's like 8 people.
16 maybe. Remember I told you, Mike, and I've told the listeners and viewers before, this show, we get 6,000 downloads in like a week.
I had more people in that Zoom last night.
Like everybody doesn't listen right away. They don't all listen live. They don't all listen in the first day, right? It's like, oh, geez, I got to listen to Hebsy. It's like, 11 o'clock on a Friday night. No, we get hundreds and hundreds of listeners, during the course of the next 6, 7 days, 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks later. It's an ongoing thing with a podcast. Wednesday I listen to the Hebsy podcast because Tuesday I'm listening to Talking Sopranos. Monday I listen to WTF. Sunday I listen to Toronto Mike. See, people have their days. They listen, I know that the Sopranos episode always came out on Mondays. Mondays I'm listening to the Sopranos. Monday I listen to Sopranos and I listen to the Clean Hamster podcast, which is my son.
Oh, of course,
okay?
Of course.
Tuesdays, usually I'll pick the latest Toronto Mike, but the problem is I backed up now on those.
You got to cherry pick. You'll like the spoons.
I got to cherry pick, and that's Tuesdays. Okay, Wednesdays always I got Mark Maron.
Well,
I'm backed up on him as well. I love my podcast.
No,
so even if I love my own podcast, I don't think I get to listen to it for a few days. Anyway.
Hey, Brian Gersey makes a good point, and maybe can you succinctly in one sentence explain to the listenership how exactly they determine who's listening to a station? Like you have to be carrying some, you tell us, there's a device or something?
Yes, there's a device. It's called a people meter, and you actually have to wear it on your person. And then anytime you're in a room that has a television on, it's supposed to be able to take, the information from there, what you're watching, how long you were watching it for. There's like a few hundred of these things around, but each one represents, thousands of listeners or
they
whatever the number is.
Right.
It's the only way they can do it. But essentially the numbers are bullshit.
Yeah.
They don't include streaming numbers. How many people do you know that stream the game as opposed to watching it on TV?
Lots of people.
Listening to the radio, Hey, man, I listen to the Overdrive. I listen to the podcast. I don't listen live. I'm busy doing shit. But I might catch the first hour of Overdrive at 6:30 or 7 o'clock on a podcast. You know what I mean? Or I'll PVR it, the TV show version of it. And then later on, I'll go, I wonder what they were saying about Damian Warner. Stuff like that. Who, by the way, Damian Warner said, and he was very good, very gracious in accepting the award. And then when they asked him about changing of the name, he basically said, well, he said things that might have been appropriate at the time to some people, but still, we can't have that. And I'd be in favor of a name change.
What's happening?
I think he might have even said that he liked the name, the Terry Fox Award.
Yeah.
But anyway.
The challenge there will be there is a Terry Fox Award, so we'll have to figure out.
It's a humanitarian award, and there's Terry Fox Drive. I get that too.
Okay.
I don't think that's a big challenge. The Terry Fox Award has nothing to do with sports. It's a humanitarian award. It's actually a scholarship.
Cool.
And to me, if he was that big of a hero, he can't have his name on too many things.
Right.
No one should ever say, oh, there's too many mentions of Terry Fox. How about not enough?
You're
anyway,
preaching
let me go
to
on
the choir.
here.
Go ahead, buddy.
All right. Afternoon Drive on the Fan. A 0.20. Okay, that's down 1.5%. It's pretty steady. TSN, a 0.18, up 50%. They've almost caught the Fan's Afternoon Drive show. A 0.18 versus a 0.20. Wow. And all week long, the Fan is a 0.09. So less than 1 share for the week.
And this is the targeted demographic, right? This is males.
In this demo,
because that's
25
important.
to 54. That's down 21%. TSN all week is up 46%, up to a 0.04. So they have almost half the listening audience that the Fan has, which for them is fairly significant.
Sure.
The problem is they're not consistent. They have Dan Patrick, a syndicated US show on middays. They're all over the place, I guess. But their key shows have to be Overdrive in the Afternoon Drive and their morning show, which is picking up some steam. So good on them. TSN's average audience is up 89.8% versus the summer. Sportsnet down 7.2% since the summer. So that's baseball on CJCL on the Fan. And that's summertime is no Overdrive on TSN. So there's your difference right there. TSN now has some properties in the fall and certainly have Overdrive with their full complement. And in the summer, they did not. While the Jays were running Blue Jay, or the Sportsnet was running the Blue Jays.
1050 must be doing a good job because that program director over there is now also in charge of CFRB, News Talk 1010, because they let 1010 let go their program director and gave that responsibility to the 1050 guy.
Right. They added that portfolio to his portfolio.
I wonder if they doubled his salary.
Oh, I don't think so. I bet he didn't get any more money. It's no more money. So it doesn't work that way. What happens is this. We have an opening. We can now save ourselves a good bit of money by putting that person there into a dual portfolio. Right? Maybe you get another assistant at $40,000 a year salary to help you, but you're now programming 2 stations. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen are tied atop the standings entering Sunday's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Folks, this is the ultimate. This is what you want. The top 2 drivers in the world deadlocked entering the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi. Doesn't get any better than this. The 7-time world champion for Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, against the up-and-coming superstar who drives for Red Bull, Max Verstappen. He's never won a world championship. Lewis has 7 for Mercedes. Should be epic. Very exciting. And finally, the Minnesota Vikings hung on to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 36-28 last night. Terrible football game, but the Steelers made it interesting in the 4th after trailing 23-0 at halftime. Just a bit of shitty game. Pittsburgh's terrible this year. And Minnesota's not much better. Games to watch this weekend include the Buffalo Bills, who lost to New England Sunday and then whined about it afterwards. Oh, you shouldn't ask us questions like that. Don't ever ask me a question about I guess you can't use the word embarrassed. You shouldn't, you can't use the word embarrassed when you ask someone about how they feel after a loss. You can't use embarrassed or humiliated. I found that out many years ago when I asked Mike Milbury after the Bruins lost 8-3 in a Stanley Cup playoff game, whether his team was humiliated in the room. It's a trigger.
Right.
So when they asked Micah Hyde and I forget who the other Buffalo player was, when the guy asked, are you guys, is your team embarrassed? Embarrassed? What kind of a question is that? Like that? Embarrassed. Just got their backs up. And then they walked out. Whiners. Embarrassed. And then you had some football players who said, well, yeah, we answer questions for the media, but don't ask words like that. And you're thinking, okay, when the reporter asks that question, he's expecting a response. He asked the question for a specific reason, not to get them pissed off, but to get an answer from them. Hell yeah, we're embarrassed. We should be embarrassed. We didn't perform in front of our fans.
Right.
That's what,
like leading the witness.
Question, that's what you think.
Right.
Well, but that's what happens. Every reporter should ask a question expecting a certain type of answer. But if you're expecting a volatile retort, you might get more than you bargained for. As in, fuck you, buddy. Oh, what kind of question is that? You're a stupid reporter. And then they walk out. And then all the other reporters look at you. What the fuck was that? What kind of fucking question was that? And then the reporter kind of goes, well, you guys are lobbing softball questions at him. I'm on deadline. I got a story to write. Game was shit. Maybe there's something else to talk about. Anyway, Buffalo travels to balmy Tampa for a date with Tom Brady and the Bucks this Sunday. The Bucks are 3.5-point favorites in that game. Don't know if I can bet the Bills after what I've seen lately. Don't know about that. And the Sunday nighter has the Green Bay Packers at home to the Chicago Bears. Woo. Green Bay, a 12.5-point favorite.
Wow. Against
the Bears. 12.5. Aaron Rodgers still not vaccinated. But the show that he goes on, the podcast. Well, what's the
Joe Rogan?
Name? No. God, what's the dude's name? Pat McAfee. Just signed like a $40 million deal with DraftKings. $40 million for his podcast. Because he gets guys like Aaron Rodgers on the show to talk shit and say whatever the fuck's on their mind. It's a beautiful, someone should come up with a podcast where you just say what's on your mind. Yeah?
Real talk.
No bullshit.
That's a great idea.
About sports.
What a good idea, Hebsy, man.
Okay, that's it. We're done. Episode 262 of Hebsy on Sports is in the books. Thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Thanks to you for listening. And Christmas is coming. If you're looking for a great gift, hit me up for an autographed copy. Right here. Greatest athlete you've never heard of. References to that sports writer, whose name was on an award for many years. Did the research on that. It's a great story. You'll love it. Hey, listen, $35 delivered to your doorstep, autographed, personally autographed. What a stocking stuffer that would be. And if I can't get you to do that, maybe you want to sponsor the show, which may not be around in 2022.
Well, can we?
Got to cover my costs.
That's all I'm saying. Let's be clear on this. If we don't have a sponsor by January 2022, is there a Hebsy on Sports? Like, be clear, because
I can't keep putting money taking money out of my pocket to do the show.
Okay, I sent you an important email on this front. We're gonna get you a sponsor because we got to save Hebsy on Sports. We need
and I'm not a salesman. Listen, I'm not going to be picking up the phone, cold calling people. Hey, you want to sponsor the show? I'm just telling you this. This is the way it goes. You should understand the economics of podcasting. There is costs involved, right? People have to be paid. Equipment has to be paid for. That type of a thing. It's not a huge amount of money. But like I told you, man, this is podcasting. We got 6,000 or so viewers and listeners every week. It's $60 minimum.
Reach out. And if Hebsy Man intimidates you because he's a big fucking star, you can always talk to me first. I'm not an intimidating fellow. So Mike at torontomike.com. Send me a note. We're going to get a sponsor for Hebsy on Sports and save that damn program.
There you go. I mean, in the summertime, we've got Crosswinds Golf and Country Club. They're great. They're super nice people, but you can't play golf in the winter.
No, there's
no reason for them to advertise on the show. I understand that. I would never push them for it. Golf is not a 12-month-a-year sport in Canada. So in the other few months, we need somebody else to help out. Anyway,
Let's do it.
Thanks for allowing us into your headspace. Much appreciated. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with Mike. We know that you have room in that head of yours. We know that you've got room for us. We appreciate it very much. Thanks for making the space. Back with another exciting episode of Hebsy on Sports next week. Until then, so long for now. Beautiful.
Let's say goodbye to the viewers. If I can find the button. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Thanks for indulging. And if you want to sponsor the show, like I said, there you go. Want to cover some costs? Anything more? Beautiful. Bonus.
You got to wet your whistle, as you say. Got to wet your whistle.
Got to wet your whistle.
Peace and love.
And that other people are interested in my services as well, which has something to do with it. Makes me feel good. But I really like doing the podcast, and I hope you enjoyed it.